Good morning, folks. It's Big Rob here. Just a guy over 50, nobody special, big time stroke survivor. Want to check in a little bit. For those of you who have been kind of following me and are close to me, know that I had a stroke a few weeks back. Been out of the hospital a little over a week and a half now, and in that time, we've managed to go do some, get out to the restaurants and get out to see a movie, those kinds of things, and things are going pretty well. Exercise program is sort of a flip-flop back and forth. Excuse me, where I do some strength training on one day and a little bit of cardio on the other day, and then kind of bounce those back and forth. So today's going to be a bike day. I'm going to try to bust out 45 minutes to an hour on my Airdyne Pro, provided my butt doesn't start hurting. But I want to talk to you a little bit about this new movie, Jim Caviezel's new movie, Sound of Freedom. And so that was the first movie we went to see before they yanked it out of the theater here in Anchorage. When I got out of the hospital, phenomenal movie, great production quality, and a lot of people are talking about it. In some context, they're talking about it, beating out Indiana Jones. This is Disney versus Disney, et cetera, et cetera. It's really not, but talking about it being down in Indiana Jones, in the pre-sales and millions of dollars on opening day kind of thing. And so, Harrison Ford, if you're listening, yeah, you're showing your age, bro. But, anyway, Jim Caviezel's new movie, it's impactful, it's, insightful, it's well done. It highlights, without spoiler alerts, it highlights, the international trade of trafficking in children. And as he says numerous times in the movie, God's children are not for sale. But apparently, in this international sort of grotesque, evil practice, apparently they are for sale for billions of dollars. So I wanted to kind of figure out or touch base with folks and see why the press is attacking this movie and attacking Jim Caviezel personally. I think the last headline, or the first headline I read from Rolling Stone, which is a CIA front for propaganda. If you guys don't know this, look up your history in the late 60s, early 70s. When that was supposed to come to an end to that. The CIA is not supposed to propagandize the American public, but they still do it through the Washington Post, the New York Times, and of course rags like Vogue and Rolling Stone. So anyway, they are attacking Jim Caviezel personally. They're attacking his faith. They're attacking this movie. And again, I think one of the lines I read from Rolling Stone was that it was for dads with brain worms. Well, two things occur to me. Number one, I'm a dad. I've been a dad for well over 20 years. I have a little girl. She's not very little anymore, and she's too cool to hang out with dad most of the time. But I have a little girl, and I have two boys, and I'm a dad, and guess what? I do not have brain worms. So the typical liberal attack or left-wing attack on these types of pieces is to shame you into believing that they're not true, or there's some sort of weird conspiracy theory, some kind of QAnon, whatever the fuck. I don't even know what QAnon means, because it's just sort of thrown as a label against something these lefties don't like. And so when you do go to see this movie, and I think you should, you should know that there are CEOs of prominent companies around the country that are saying, go see this movie. Dana White's the latest one to get on TV and unapologetically say, see this movie. It's a grotesque practice. It's evil. I'm not particularly a religious person. I have read the Bible from cover to cover on occasion. And I've read the Book of Mormon and a couple other religious texts over the years, not lately. But I don't need the church to tell me that this is an evil practice. It is. It needs to stop. But the curious thing to me is, why are the mainstream media outlets so hell-bent on defaming this film and begrudging people towards this film? Why? Why would Disney hold on to it for over 5 years after a merger and not release it? They sold it to Angel Studios, I guess. I don't know what they paid for it, but they got it distributed out to movie theaters. You got You got people out there offering to buy other people tickets just to see the movie, and it's a phenomenal flick. It really is. And if you're paying attention, this is one of those things that just kind of makes you aware of something that you don't think about on your day-to-day life. I mean, most of us are thinking about our careers, our families. We're not thinking about the idea that, somebody might show up one day and make a bunch of promises and try to talk you into delivering your children to some sort of studio. And I've seen some of these recruiting things come through town, where they're setting up shop and telling people that they would do really well at this or that, and then you show up and it's just some sort of flimsy stage presentation of, they're not really talented children, but they're like, oh, well, let's take your kids to this talent camp and all this kind of stuff. And you need to be mindful of that kind of shit because it goes on here in America. One of the things that really stuck with me about the movie is the statistics. Jim Caviezel gives a message at the end of it, and talks about the statistics of this particular criminal evil behavior. But I didn't know. I was woefully ignorant of the amount of child porn that's traded in the United States and how unwilling or incapable our current administration is of dealing with it. The Department of Justice is so busy sending FBI agents into the Catholic Church that they've forgotten how to deal with real crimes. And DOJ, you can come after me if you want to. I don't have anything. I can't defend myself. I maybe have a few $100s in the bank. So I don't have anything, but I can speak out against you because your behavior lately has just been appalling, absolutely appalling. And to the good people who work for the FBI and the Justice Department, this is your leadership. This is what they're involved in. You can choose to tolerate it or find something else to do for a living. But anyway, what's been going on, the fact that the Justice Department it's almost like the FBI is just overwhelmed, and they're so focused on politics that they can't, get around themselves and start dealing with child pornography and international trafficking of human beings. I read yesterday that hundreds of thousands of people have come through the border, and as we know it, immigration is unaware of the whereabouts of well over 80,000 children. So what does that say to us as a nation, say about us as a nation, that we could allow this to happen, these kids to come across and then they just disappear into the population? What's going on with these kids? Where are they? Can anybody answer those questions? Well, you can no longer deny that human trafficking of children exists in the United States because it does. And to that end, we need to encourage our politicians, demand from our politicians to put into place resources to deal with this problem. Let's stop fucking around with stupid policy decisions like who gets to use one bathroom, who gets to enforce this or that, bump stops and all this other silly shit that the government seems concerned about. We can spend hundreds of billions of dollars in Ukraine, but you can't figure out what happened to 80,000 kids who came across the border. I find that very hard to believe. I don't think you want to. I don't think the federal government wants to. I don't think the current administration has any inkling. And if you listen to this Jean, whatever her name, Pierre is, the pathological liar that they prop up in front of you, I'm not even sure she can buy her own bullshit anymore. Now she's to the point where she won't even answer questions about this kind of stuff. She won't answer questions about any of the scandals, cocaine in the White House, fake boobies on the White House lawn. I mean, it's all coming down around us. But the response, of course, from the media is to attack Jim Caviezel about something that's true. They can't argue that these things that he said in the movie and his portrayal of this agent is false. They can't argue that at all. These are all factual things. But all they can do is get on TV, like this douchebag on CNN. I mean, who is this guy? He looks like a pedophile. Maybe he should be investigated like many of their producers have been. How many CNN producers are we up to in possession of child pornography at this point? It's been a couple as far as I know. But, it sounds like they have a culture of over there at CNN and MS Trash NBC of cost covering for pedophiles and groomers. So, you can take that with a grain of salt when there are 100,000 viewers, 150,000 viewers, but these people are all scumbags. They're all scumbags. And guess what? I'm not a dad with brain worms. I don't have brain worms. Um, and I mean everything that I say. So go see the movie. Go see Sound of Freedom. It's an amazing movie. Pay the money. Get you some popcorn. I wouldn't take children to see it. I don't think. Maybe they can bounce over and watch Indiana Jones on the under 13 rates at the movie theater. I think that'll get you under $20 or $25 per person, not counting snacks. But Hollywood is just putting out too much garbage these days. It's too much shit. It's just, grooming shit, trying to get you to swallow their woke ideology, trying to get you to eat this up and pay money to see people do things that you find abhorrent. So anyway, go see the movie Sound of Freedom, Jim Caviezel. I can't remember the guy's name off the top of my head that he's representing or portraying, but this is real shit. And you'll see in the movie real footage of raids on this island that they sort of portray, and then capturing children, rescuing children, and things of that nature. But if you don't go see it, buy a ticket for a friend, have them go see it. But all adults in the United States who have kids and adults who do not have kids should go see this movie. I'm telling you, it's great stuff. So anyway, this Big Rob, just a guy over 50, nothing special, stroke survivor, calling him out. Jim Caviezel, you're the bomb, dude.